times I ask questions at the beginning of a video, like at the beginning of a YouTube video. A lot of times I'll ask you, I'm sorry, I ask questions a lot. I don't know why. I just do. I'm very interested to get your feedback, and I like having discussions with you guys and just kind of talking a little bit. Is there a specific Pokemon that you collect? There's a lot of different ways that you can collect Pokemon cards. Obviously, you can do master sets and things like that. I collect master sets. I'm a big fan of collecting master sets. The idea of catching them all has just been always something that's kind of pulled me in ever since the release of Pokemon back in the late 90s. It's always been something that I really enjoy doing. A master set to me is everything that you can pull from a booster pack, everything that you could potentially pull from a booster pack. So as they introduced reverse hollows and all these extra cards, obviously master sets became a lot bigger. But there are certain Pokemon that I really enjoy. I get asked all the time, what's your favorite Pokemon? Well, Chandelure, like I do like Phantom, but Chandelure is ultimately my favorite Pokemon that's out there. But I do like a lot of other ones too, obviously like Phantom. I really like Ludicolo. I really like Arcanine. There's a lot of them that I really, really enjoy, but Chandelure is probably the top of them. I don't know how I could handle Pikachu being my favorite because I like Pikachu fine, but can you imagine being a Pikachu collector? Like, can you imagine being a Pikachu Pokemon card collector? Obviously, Pikachu is like the mascot of Pokemon. They have printed so many Pikachus. It is absolutely insane. When I came up with the idea of this video, I want to look at the market and how Pikachu cards have been performing, what Pikachu cards have been doing well. There's like an insane amount of pages on TCGPlayer for Pikachu. Just go to TCGPlayer and type Pikachu. And the amount of pages, the amount of cards that are in existence that feature Pikachu or with Pikachu in the title is absolutely insane. Now, there's other Pokemon cards out there that are like that. Obviously, there's a lot of Charizards, there's a lot of Blastoises, there's a lot of Eevees, there's a ton of Eevees, but Pikachu takes the cake. I should have looked up how many Pikachu cards have been printed, because you're not just looking at Pikachus from sets. You're looking at promo cards, you're looking at ultra rares, you're looking at special releases, foreign cards. There's a ton of Pikachu cards that are out there. It's absolutely crazy. So if you are a Pikachu card collector, let me know in the comments section down below. I can't imagine what you go through trying to collect all the Pikachus. That's absolutely insane. I feel like that's more daunting than collecting a master set. But we're going to look at 15 different Pikachus that have performed extremely well. Pikachu obviously is going to be a card, a Pokemon that is going to perform extremely well in the future. So we're starting out just by looking at one that many of us are going to remember. This one's super easy. This is from Lost Origin. This is from the Lost Origin Trainer Gallery. This is one of the early front half of the Trainer Gallery. So a little bit easier to pull, but a very cool looking card. The Sleepy Pikachu. I remember pulling it, very excited when I pulled it the first time, and then the 50th time that I pulled it, also very excited because it is such a cool looking card. It's been up and down quite a bit over the past year, but if you look at how it's done over the past couple months, we've seen a lot of Pokemon cards do extremely well over the past couple months, and some of these Pikachu cards are also the same exact way. You can see at one point in time in February of 2024, this was down to $2.92, but since then it has doubled in price, which doesn't seem like a whole lot because it's only a few dollars, but doubling in price is absolutely crazy percentage wise, and it's jumped up from that $2.92 price mark to almost $6 currently. It's sitting at $5.98 currently, which is very interesting to see because there's so many copies of that available. Here's the Pikachu from the Galarian Gallery. This one is from Crown Zenith. Obviously the V-Star Universe, you could pull this in the God Pack. Very cool card in both the V-Star Universe and Crown Zenith. Very cool looking with the yellow borders. Obviously we don't have those anymore, but November of 2023, this was sitting at $2.58. But again, another card that has gone up about 60% over the past few months. Now it's still off of its one-year high of $4.56, but it's getting back to that point, sitting at $4.03 currently, and a little bit easier to pull again, like what we just saw with that one from Lost Origin. If you're looking at a couple of cards that are more difficult to pull, here's the Pikachu V from Lost Origin that was in the Trainer Gallery. This one and the Pikachu V Max, roughly 510-ish packs to pull one of these, so a little bit more difficult. Trending downward quite a bit, really ever since release, and at one point in time in February of 2024, this had hit a one-year low of $18.91, but much like what we've seen from a few other Trainer Gallery cards and a lot of alternate art cards from the Sword and Shield era, this one skyrocketed over the past couple months and almost doubled in price. It jumped up to $32.26 recently. Now it's lost a little bit of that. It's lost about 10% over the past month, but still sitting at $29.53 currently, about $10, $11 above where it was just a few short months ago. Here is that Pikachu VMAX that we were talking about, also from Lost Origin. This one's been a little flat over the past month, but again, another card that has exploded in price over the past couple of months. At one point in time in February, it had dropped down to that $28.67 1-year low, and then like we talked, broken record. I know a lot of alternate arts and some of these trainer gallery cards, once people started seeing, okay, these are a little bit more difficult to pull, it kind of skyrocketed. It jumped up to $48.92 recently, sitting at $47.91 currently, and still continuing to trend upward. Here's the Pikachu Secret Rare from Crown Zenith. So I say Secret Rare, and I say that a little bit loosely because this does have fairly easy pull rates. It's the only Secret Rare that's in Crown Zenith. Very easy to pull when you consider the fact that it takes one per case. If you consider other Secret Rares from other sets, like you talk about Hyper Rares right now or things like that take basically 750 packs to pull. This one was a pull rate of about 1 out of every 100, but a beautiful looking card, absolutely gorgeous. This one started out over $100 and has been steadily dropping ever since release. Once people saw how easy it was to pull, mass quantities started hitting the market. Lots of Crown Zenith that has been opened. In February of 2024, this was a $6.23 card, but if you look at what's happened over the past couple of months, this card has done extremely well and probably will do well in the future as well, despite the fact that it was fairly easy to pull. Jumped up to $15, or jumped up to $12.35 recently. So basically doubling in price over the past few months. Now still a little bit off of its 1-year high, which it was at in June of 2023, but starting to trend in that direction, sitting at $12.35 currently, doing extremely well. Here is the Pikachu SM162 promo card. I remember this one very well because this came in the blister packs of Team Up. So you would get this one or you would get the Mimikyu variant. This one very, very cool. Pikachu obviously staring at Mimikyu. So this was in the single pack blisters, the single pack from Team Up. And in June of 2023, this was selling for $7.16. Not bad, but over the past year, it's done extremely well. Obviously, Team Up has also done extremely well, but this card has just almost doubled in price. It's sitting at $13.07 currently and still trending upward, doubling in price over the past year and still moving up. Here's the Pop 5 Pikachu. Very cool looking card, riding on Wailmer right there. If you aren't a Pikachu card collector, I mean, there's so many out there, but even like the Pop Series cards, which obviously you have some Pop Series cards which are impacted by gold stars, like the Umbreon you can only pull from a pop pack. The Espeon Gold Star you can only pull from a pop pack. There's certain common and uncommon cards that you can only pull from a pop pack as well, despite the fact that there's barely any cards in the set. So there's only 17 cards in the set, one of them being a Pikachu riding a Wailmer, which is super cool looking, but this card has exploded over the past year. $19.11 is where it was in June of 2023. Saw a ton of growth up until January of 2024. That's where it hit its 1-year high of $26. Now it's leveled off. It's been really flat over the past 6 months, but still sitting at $25.39 currently, about $6 above where it was in June of last year. Here's the Pikachu VMAX, which a lot of you remember from Vivid Voltage. This has been really, really popular when Vivid Voltage first came out. Way cheaper now than what it was then. It was over $200 upon release. Started coming down quite a bit. A lot of people wanting this card in a PSA 10. A lot of people opening Vivid Voltage to pull this card. That was the big thing with Vivid Voltage. In June of 2023, it was sitting at that 1-year high of 134.14, but it did fall, and it fell quite a bit. Like many other cards during the back half of 2023, we saw 1-year lows from a lot of alternate arts, a lot of hyper rare cards, including this Pikachu VMAX. It dropped below $100. It hit $96.51, and it stayed relatively flat up until March of 2024. That's when it really started moving up, and that's when we saw a lot of alternate arts, a lot of cards from the Sword and Shield era really start exploding. This one jumped up to $126.10 currently right now, and it's only about $8 away from its 1-year high, which is where it was at in June of 2023. I mean, you're looking at about $30 above where it was just a few short months ago. Here's the Pikachu from Pop 6, so another pop card. Beautiful artwork. Pikachu running around in the forest with the Oranberry right there. In June of 2023, this was sitting at $21.80. It's gained about 40% over the past year, doing extremely well, and a fair amount of them being sold despite the fact that there's so many Pikachus out there. You can see in January of 2024, that's when it hit this 1-year high of $29.99, and it stayed at that point since then, but about 40% above where it was at this time last year. here. Here's the secret rare Pikachu from Rising Rivals. I remember pulling this card during our 100K celebration. Very, very cool looking card. Absolutely gorgeous. In November of 2023, this had dropped down to $50.38. You can still find them for about $50, $60 if you're okay with light play. Rising Rivals, one of those sets that was probably printed a little bit less during that era, that generation, Diamond and Pearl generation, Heart Gold, Soul Silver generation. A lot less probably printed than what we saw with Sun and Moon, XY, and especially Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. And also, we didn't protect cards as well back then as what we do now. So near mint cards back then, much more difficult. A lot of people didn't put them in graded cards, or didn't put them in graded holders, or put them in top loaders or anything like that. So a lot of cards that have been impacted. Also, there wasn't really a whole lot on these cards that define them as secret rares outside of the numbering system. Now, obviously, you do have a holographic border on the card or a holographic background on the card. You do have the numbering at the bottom, but not a whole lot that outlined it as a secret rare as far as appearance goes, like what we get now with the gold borders and the rainbow rares and things like that. In November of 2023, this was selling for $50.38. It's doubled in price. It's sitting at $119.99 currently and continuing to trend upward. Here's the Pikachu EX full art. This is a promo card that came in a box set during the X and Y era. In June of 2023, this was selling for $86.78. It was relatively flat up until November of 2023. That's when it really started blowing up. It'll be very interesting to see how these EX cards perform now that EX is a thing again. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Megas now that Megas are a thing again. This one topped out at $116.82. That was its one-year high, which it hit in April. It's backed off a little bit, but still sitting at $111.32 currently. Here's the Detective Pikachu promo. This is SM170. There's a handful of Detective Pikachu promos. This one was relatively flat for about 8 months. So from August of 2023 all the way up until April of 2024, it was sitting right around $26. Now it's sitting at $28.43. That's a one-year high. That's about 40% above where it was in June of 2023 when it was sitting at $21.62. This is the most expensive card. These came out during the Detective Pikachu release and the Detective Pikachu subset. Very interesting set. Here's the Pikachu and Zekrom Rainbow Rare from Team Up. Team Up, we already know, has gained a lot of steam over the past couple of years. In June of 2023, this one was sitting at $70.30. A lot of Rainbow Rares have done really well. A lot of tag teams have done really well. Some of them have come back to earth a little bit, but this Pikachu and Zekrom Rainbow Rare still continues to do really well. It topped out in January of 2024. It went from its one-year low in June of 2023 of $70.30. Gained up to almost $100, so almost 30% growth over the next 4 months. It's been relatively flat since then, sitting at $95.20 currently. Here's a Pikachu Diamond and Pearl promo. I think this is the one that was given out in Burger King. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think this was a Burger King promo. You've got the Pikachu right here, and then if you look in the background in the tree, there's another Pikachu over there. Very cool looking card. Very flat from June of 2023 all the way up until February of 2024. It was sitting at $14.92. It jumped up to that one-year high of $19.57. Part of the reason from these big swings, not a whole lot of these being sold out there. Jumped up quite a bit, fell back down, and now it's kind of risen back up. So it's sitting at $19.02 currently, continuing to trend upward. And then the last one that we're going to look at is the Poncho Pikachu. These are making a ton of waves out there. This is just one variant of it. This is the 098/XYP with the Charizard Poncho on it. There's Rayquaza one. There's a bunch of different ones out there. These ones are doing really well, and the full art variants of them are doing very well as well. In November of 2023, this was sitting at $99. Obviously, almost 5 months later, 6 months later, it's almost doubled in price. It's sitting at $172.84 currently. But if you go to collecticons or you go to a lot of card events, things like that, this is kind of what people are in demand for right now. A lot of Poncho Pikachus out there, high demand for them and doing extremely well. So let me know in the comment section down below if you're a Pikachu collector or if there's a specific Pokemon. If you're a man-type collector, you're in really good shape, or a Bonsly collector, you're in really good shape. But if you're a Pikachu collector or an Eevee collector, it can be rough out there. Definitely. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, please hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a like. Leave a comment. It goes really long way for the algorithm. But most importantly, thank you so much for taking the time to sit here to listen to me talk about Pokemon for the past 15 minutes. Love you guys. I love this stuff. Thank you so much for everything. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Till next time. Peace.